Hello everybody and welcome back to the Midnight channel, and I've been playing a lot of the Persona dancing games and everything. I should have a review coming out soon, so I'm having a lot of fun and everything. I do have criticisms about it, but this is not the video for that. This is actually a video about things that I would like to see on the next Persona game. This is whether is the remake of the Persona 5, because you know, as always does, a remastered version of the game just with additional features and stuff like that, or Persona 6. Now let's just make sure I love Persona 5, was my game of the year last year, gave it a 10 out of 10 myself. So overall, while I was playing this game, when it finished, I was asking, wow, how can they top this, because this is just so good, and they did everything right on my mind. But you know, after playing a couple more times and just kind of like the overall experience and everything, I do have some wish list. This is just really a wish list of things that I would like to see on the next Persona game. These are just little things, they're not really like big deal things or anything like that. These are just kind of just like nitpicks a little bit, and not really even nitpicks, just stuff that I would like to see either improved and modified for the next game. So yeah, this is just wish list of stuff that I would like to see on the next Persona game. And so let's just jump right into it. So the first one that I got here is actually regarding the social links. So what happens with the social links is once you finish completing a social link on all Persona games, this is just not Persona 5, basically that's it. You don't have to interact with them anymore. You can once in a while, and through the story or through just hangouts or whatever, but it's just not the same. You just don't learn a whole lot more about them. It's just a hangout or whatever. So I would like to see the system improve a little bit. Now that being said, Persona 5 did improve a lot from the other games and made social links more important and felt slightly more complete as far as, you know, what they added onto it and everything. So a really good feature. I would just like to see a little bit more. Like I said, this is just like nitpicks and little things. Maybe a little bit more interaction with social links after you finish them. Maybe you see them in school or around and they hang out more, or maybe you get a bonus for hanging out extra with them or something like that. It just feels weird that after you have completed their bonds with them and everything, you just don't see them again, or you just hang out with them anymore. So it just feels a little weird. But yeah, then another one that I have is a shorter tutorial or introduction to the systems. All of these Persona games are guilty of this. Persona 3 and 4 had maybe like a 2-hour introduction, but like a tutorial and everything. But Persona 5 had the longest introduction ever. I mean, it must have been about 10 hours in, and I will still see like things like, hey, you know, enemies does this and that, and I'm over here like, oh my god. Can we stop with this tutorial? So I feel like if Atlus did it away so that if you're already experienced with the Persona games, they just let you jump right into it. Maybe like a question at the beginning: have you played a Persona game before? Yes or no? And then you just jump into it, because playing Persona 5, or replaying it rather, makes it a little bit hard, because you're kind of just trying to like jump into it again, and it's kind of like going through the entire tutorial again, even though you just played the game. So I don't know if they can make this like a skippable tutorial. I mean, I don't want to skip the story or anything like that. I just don't want to have the pop-ins and out for tutorials and everything. And overall, the story drags a little bit because they're trying to introduce everything at once, both the tutorial and the story. So I don't know if they can fix a little bit on that. Like I said, Persona 3 and 4 didn't have as much of a problem. It was a small tutorial. It's still a little dragging for some people, you know, because the first dungeon and everything is just usually a tutorial. But if it could just make it a little smaller, I don't know how they can do it, but I'm sure they can come up with a good way. Again, just wishlist stuff here that I would like to see in another game, or maybe on the remaster for Persona 5. So let's see, another one that I have is additional side content. And what I mean by that is on Persona 4 or on Persona 3, there's little interactions that you do with the characters outside of the main story. For example, in Persona 4, they go back to the port island where Persona 3 happens, and so you have a little cool interaction there. You also have a trip where they go I mean, where they go to the snow area and everything. So all these little interactions and this little stuff are missing from Persona 5. And I understand that Persona 5 was a special case because of the story, the way that it was made and everything. So you didn't have as much relaxing as you did in the other games. Your character was kind of like not well liked within the social circles of the school and everything like that. So overall, I understand that and everything, but I felt like maybe a little bit more side content and stuff makes the story sometimes a little bit easier to swallow through, especially this kind where a lot of stuff happen and gets very tense and everything. Getting that tension out with side content sometimes a little bit good. Persona 4 really did it good, especially with Persona Golden, because they added a lot more stuff, and I feel like they did it really, really good. So something like that, maybe in Persona 5, Crimson or whatever they call it, or maybe on the Persona 6 game, that'll be really cool. But I feel like that will be something that will make it a little bit easier on some aspects. And then another thing that I feel is just maybe a little bit. This is just on the whole performance. They already let you choose, your answers and everything. But if you see on a lot of different games within this genre, games like Life is Strange or maybe Heavy Rain or that kind of stuff, a lot of these games with choice and consequence have more choice and consequence. And because this game is becoming more and more like those games, in the genre, I feel like if they were to do it a little bit more organic or a little bit more improved on that aspect, that'll be cool. I mean, Mass Effects did it pretty well. I'm trying to come up with Dragon Age, so there's definitely a lot of games out there that do it. A really good example with like The Witcher 3, they did it really good too as well. So I feel like these could be improved a little bit, especially because in all the Persona games there's little twists and turns in the story and everything. So maybe letting you do certain more things or more interaction with those will be really cool, because usually in these games you usually kind of cut and dry, good ending and bad ending, and maybe kind of like a middle ending there sometimes. But I would like to see maybe a little bit more. Now I understand that opposed to a lot of these games that I mentioned, Atlus is a small, really small team of developers. But if you think about it, CD Projekt Red, which made Witcher 3, was also a small group as well. So if they can do it, I'm sure that Atlus can figure something out and do this as well. I just feel like this will be a little bit more of a compelling on that department. Don't get me wrong, I love all the stories and I'm a huge Persona fan, which is why I have this wish list of stuff that I would like to see. But I feel like these could be a little bit more improved on, especially with a lot of these games that come out like that as well. So yeah, and then the last thing that I had here is more meaningful quest, and Persona 5 did this better than the other games because of the game and the kind of story they were doing. They had mementos and the app on the phone that people could they had like a Twitter of the sorts where people comment stuff and then you go through them and do these missions and stuff. That was really cool, but maybe a little bit more interaction with physical characters, kind of like get like a mini story and everything. Maybe do quests with the social links or something like that. They did this a little bit, but really all at the very end of each social link, you basically have a little bit of a side quest here, or at some point in the social link, maybe a little bit more than just going to mementos, something like that. Maybe like side story or something like that. That would be really cool. Maybe that's a good way to improve both the social links and the quest at the same time or something. But yeah, that's just like, again, just a little wish list here of stuff that I would like to see on it. Overall, I love all these Persona games and everything. I'm having a blast with Persona dancing games and everything. So yeah, that's just 5 things that I would like to see on the next Persona game. Hopefully we see some of these stuff with improvements. Persona 5 to me was a masterpiece, but after replaying it for a couple of times, I do feel that there's some stuff that I could improve on, because I want Atlus to do really, really well. They deserve all the praise they got for Persona 5, and I just want to see more. I love Persona. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time. But yeah, thanks so much for watching this video. It's just a short video here talking about the stuff that I would like to see in the next games or so. Thanks so much for watching this, and I'll see you next time.